For us right here in Lagos, we will be looking at the federal government's bold step in positioning Nigeria as a global leader when it comes to fintech. And of course, today on the show, being 25th of February 2025, we will be having a guest who will be joining us virtually from Ikoyi, Lagos, to give us more insight as to practical steps that can be taken to be able to see Nigeria realize such a dream. And of course, I am being joined virtually from Ikoyi by my guest, who is by name Dr. Olushola Olowoyeye. He is a financial expert. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm happy to be on your show this morning. How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, the announcement yesterday came as a surprise and of course an excitement to Nigerians that the president has made an announcement that Nigeria is definitely going to be on the world map, this time around being the leader, not just in sub-Saharan Africa, but global leader when it comes to fintech. But before we delve deeper into our discussion today, the man on the street, the average man on the street, might be a user of some of the services provided by some of these fintech companies, but of course might not know what a fintech company is all about. Do you mind giving us just an idea in a very simplified manner of what a fintech company is?
Okay, thank you very much. For that very question as a way of introduction. It's important to know that our world has changed and language world is technology, be it in form of the way we communicate, in form of way that we are able to do things. And that's what has also changed when it comes to technology. It brings about what is called Fintech, financial technology. So it's a short form of making it out to work technology. The way we communicate, we do telecommunication, so also we are doing technology. I think that would be a simple way for everybody to look at it. At least we all use phones now to be able to communicate with each other. Same way, financial transactions have now gone global using technology as a way to drive it.
So in other words, you're saying that it's part of our daily life to be able to use technology to carry out financial transactions. Is that correct?
Beautiful, beautiful, fantastic.
All right, so having set that stage, now what is your take as regards putting Nigeria on this world stage? Because this is not the first time the federal government will be making pronouncements. We saw a pronouncement in 2023 when subsidy removal was kissed goodbye. Obviously, there was no framework on ground, or if there was, it might not be sufficient enough to drive that initiative. What do you think could be wrong if a pronouncement of this nature is made without having the framework, the ecosystem that will be able to drive that project? Remembering the fact that we're not just talking about sub-Saharan Africa to be a leader, you're talking about at the world stage. So what's your take on that?
Okay, thank you very much for bringing that up, and I will confirm to you that this is one of the proactive steps again by the Tinubu administration to make Nigeria the financial hub. And when we say a financial hub, there are some key things that put you in the forefront. There are some key factors that is working for Nigeria and is making Nigeria to be able to position itself as a fintech hub in the world. One is that we have a young, technology savvy population. And, you made mention about, how do we carry on this and remain consistent, so that it's not a function of just making a pronouncement. Are they able to carry on along with it? You will see that this administration is also doing a lot in terms of financial inclusion. And with the pronouncement also with the federal government, there is this initiative about the Nigerian Digital Week, whereby all the startups are going to be given opportunity to showcase their idea. And if you see those people who are leading, this fintech, activities, they are young people who are coming up with a lot of new ideas and are ready, to deploy it. And our technology is now something that is used all over the world. If I have to start mentioning names, you will see that average of every tech companies that have kicked off in Nigeria has been given, an enabling environment with our own people using it both locally and abroad. And with government making the right pronouncement, putting the right infrastructure in place, and being stable on the kind of policies and regulation, I think we are just scratching it. There's still a lot ahead. So Nigeria have all the potential to be able to hold this.
All right, you just mentioned that one of the key, benefit that we might have to be able to help us drive this is the fact that we have young individuals who are tech savvy that can be able to get involved in this process to drive it. But while we're looking at that, do you also factor in the issue of telecommunication network issues, where sometimes you are in a location and you are unable to do transaction? I can tell you for a fact that a certain network, might be having issue in a particular area. Take for instance, you want to do a transaction and then you're having network issue. How do you think this particular initiative can work when we are still grappling with network connectivity?
Okay, thank you very much for raising that. I must, confirm to you that those challenges are still there. However, we're getting some level of improvement over time. And I'm sure with the new policy and the approval from the federal government for them to be able to do something around the tariff, I believe is going to help them to better increase their infrastructure and get more access to be able to provide more quality and better service. I think with more involvement of government from the regulatory side and ensuring that they create an environment, most of these challenges we will be able to overcome it. And with the kind of technology that are also deployed now, the use of internet and lesser use of data to be able to promote some of this technology, I believe that in the nearest, shortest possible time, with the new policies and the encouragement from government, most of telecom companies will be able to support and back this particular initiatives, and then we will be able to start seeing the game changing. If we could make a reference to the volume of transactions that were done during the 30th December, it tells you ahead of us as an economy, and people were able to do transactions. Thank you.
All right, now the president, aside signing MOU with key stakeholders and of course National Information Technology Development, which is a ministry of government, he also made mention of the fact that he's going to give support to drive this initiative. What specifically are we talking about when it comes to this kind of support that the president will give, given the fact that you just mentioned that data is an issue with us Nigeria here because it's quite expensive, let alone the fact that network issues can also play a part in not making this dream realized. So what kind of support is the president talking about here that would drive the initiative for those who are stakeholders in this industry?
Okay, I think the first step that has been a very right one by bringing the regulator along with the key players in the industry to come together, and that roundtable discussion has led to signing of a memorandum of understanding. And this memorandum of understanding, they've agreed that the first step they will take is to do what we call the Nigerian Digital Week, which is going to give all other players to come together and be able to showcase what they have. And from there, you will see more public-private partnership. You will see more foreign players coming to support with access to capital, and with government continuously making sure that there is no uncertainty in policy. I believe that they will be able to do much more. with what we have currently on ground.
All right, now let's look at the issue of taxes, because obviously it's one of those reasons why a lot of people shy away from doing business in Nigeria. And when people say government have no business in business, and now coming into the tech space to say they are going to make sure that the support companies who are in the tech space need are gotten. Now, what do you say about the issue of taxes?
Okay, so I think quite a lot of campaigns to operate, and some of them are like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and and they keep getting more support from government because the volume of transactions keep growing, and because of infrastructure that they invest into in their few years, they get some level of support, in form of some level of incentives. So the current tax system in Nigeria is not punitive, or I would say, if I put it this way, it's not the type that will kill a new initiative. So, and with the new tax law that is going to come, that is going to be signed, there's still going to be more enabling environment for more startup and fintech companies to work to grow. If you look at a lot of payment solutions that currently we use here in Nigeria, you will see some of them with very small number of staff, and with infrastructure they are able to run, and tax authority are not running after them to hold them down. Rather, they are giving them enabling environment to be able to work to operate. And with the new tax law, there will be room for them to be able to do more. I think
all right, you talked about the
have all these things put together well.
All right. So you talked about the financial inclusion system. It's always a good thing for us to have everyone financially included. And of course, you made mention of the fact that during the dirty December, there was a whole lot of financial transaction that, came through the financial system. But you would understand that it has become a recurring decimal. Almost every December, people find it difficult to be able to access cash. I don't know if it's what we call the light cash or cashless society, but for some people it's more or less like confiscating cash, because they bring money to the bank, and when it's time to get that money, they are unable to get it. So how do you think this would work when you talk about the financial inclusion system?
Okay, so I'm sure you know that in the last 1 to 2 years, the use of POS to drive transaction has increased drastically. And if you look at the volume of transaction that now goes on POS, that tomato seller you mentioned, that woman that sells boli and epa now have a POS machine, and everybody is able to then transact business more using the POS option. You are either using an ATM or you are using POS to make payments. You use your card in almost every business setting now in Nigeria. The issue of cash, definitely not only in Nigeria but all over the world, it's something that everybody is trying to go cashless. And when central government also look at the economic impact of having to print more cash, the cost implications and quite a lot of other things. So rather, the need to continue to promote a cashless society is very key. But when we talk about the term inclusion, are people able to pay their bills online? Are they able to buy basic grocery using an online platform? Are they able to do so many things about their basic life using an electronic way to be able to do this? I will tell you, Nigeria have done well in integration and inclusion. Living when we used to have 70% on bank, the data has dropped now to about 40% on bank. So meaning there's a lot of more financial inclusion within the last 5 to 10 years. And you can be rest assured that more structure are being put in place. Most Nigerian banks are deploying more, and more MTOs, are coming on board with this, fintech idea to be able to help people do transactions seamlessly.
Now, talk to us about this Spence error when it comes to bill payment, especially on most of those platforms that you mentioned. Because I tell you, it gives a sour taste in the mouth. Particularly, I had a very funny experience over the weekend. I was trying to recharge my electricity bill. I was debited actually, but there was no value. And it's taking forever to have my money reversed. So how do you encourage me to continue with that system?
Okay, so now, every system have its own challenges and its own issues. And one of it is when we are dealing with fintech on one side and we're also dealing with issue of the infrastructure that are in place, most especially also dealing with how do we deal with customer complaints and resolve issues. Quite a lot of integration issues are still there. Most of the banks are not giving as much, support in terms of resolving issues when things do not go well. Like now you have an issue with your electricity bill. If I need to buy a data on my phone or use internet data, I do it seamlessly, also doing it via an application on my phone. So some are working very well and some are still left with some challenges. But it's important that we engage for that and continue to look more into how things will continue to improve, progressively.
Without taking much of your time, I would want you to answer this question before we close soon, because I know you're already pressed for time. Now, my last question to you will be, what is your outlook as we move further into becoming a global leader when it comes to fintech?
Okay, so my outlook is like I mentioned at the beginning, that we have everything working for us to be able to be a global leader in the fintech industry. And it's important that as we take this leadership, we'll continue to collaborate, work on more strategic alliance, and get more people to take benefit from this initiative. Let's tell a good story about Nigeria. Even if the story is going to start with fintech, this might be the game changer for us as a nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Olushola Olowoyeye, financial expert. Thank you very much, and we really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, that will be our offering for you today. And of course, we did enjoy our company with Doctor. And of course, you do enjoy it. So we'll be handing you over right about now to our Benin Network studio for the rest of the program.